Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the May 5th, 2018 special edition of The Breast There Is, The Breast There Was, and The Breast There Ever Will Be Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host, Mikey B, WWE, and this is a special broadcast because this is the WWE 2018 Backlash pay-per-view prediction show here on Mikey B's WWE wrestling program. This is the first sort of regularly scheduled WWE pay-per-view program of the new year, at least, and certainly in recent years has been the first one following WrestleMania oftentimes. We were, I wouldn't say treated, because I am and was very much against the event in Saudi Arabia, the Greatest Royal Rumble event. That one technically marks the first pay-per-view event following WrestleMania this year. But that was also held on a Friday, and none of the WWE women's superstars were allowed to compete. So to me, it was really not a high caliber event, and I think the company should be ashamed of themselves for not involving women in that event. And I hope in the following years, it appears since WWE has a multi-year agreement with Saudi Arabia, this company with them, that will promote events there. I certainly hope that they loosen their stance and allow women to compete there, since WWE made such a big point of how women and children were allowed to attend this event and how progressive Saudi Arabia is becoming. Yeah, well, WWE, if they're not allowing you to feature your women's revolution and any of your female superstars on the card, then you should probably say no, unless you want to be the biggest hypocrites. So anyways, I hated the fact that the WWE did this event. So I'm happy to announce that this Backlash pay-per-view back on Sundays, as per the regular scheduled times, as they usually do now on Sundays. This one will feature both men and women in the WWE, which is how it always should be. And furthermore, this event is also co-branded with Raw, Monday Night Raw, and SmackDown, having competitors from both programs appearing on here. And it appears also that this will continue throughout the year, which is great. And why this is great is because we will have lots of high caliber matches, because essentially the WWE will now choose the best feuds and programs going on each month to feature on the pay-per-views, as it really should be. Otherwise, when you split them up for each show, each pay-per-view will certainly always have some sort of some matches on there which are just kind of filler matches, which have no business being on any pay-per-view and are really generally reserved for just television matches to appear on the weekly television programs. Or even some are so bad that they don't even deserve to be on TV. They deserve to just be at house shows. So fortunately, this is a step in the right direction for the creative end for the WWE. I think the overall impact for the year it will have a greater overall impact, in that the quality of the pay-per-views will be very high. So having said all that, now moving on to the matches at hand. There are 8 matches featured on the main card for WWE Backlash 2018. The first one is for the United States Championship, featuring champion Jeff Hardy taking on Randy Orton. This one's certainly, in my opinion, one of the most difficult to predict, because this belt has changed hands since WrestleMania twice already. Randy Orton lost the belt in a fatal 4-way match against Rusev, Bobby Roode, and Jinder Mahal, and Jinder Mahal was victorious there, grabbed and took the belt, and he in the first episode after, or rather that's right, it was the first episode after, he lost the title to Jeff Hardy. And then when he lost it to Jeff Hardy in the Superstar Shakeup moved over to SmackDown Live and brought the United States belt there. So again, there's been a lot of title changes going on. It makes it a bit more difficult to predict, and both of these guys are future Hall of Famers in the WWE. Certainly not the youngest competitors on the roster. I have a feeling there's going to be some foul play here. Shelton Benjamin was involved with these two guys on SmackDown Live this past week, and he wants certainly some shots at the United States Championship. I feel that Jeff Hardy is going to retain it because when you flip flop the belt around with too many people in such a short time, I think it loses the luster for the importance of the belt. So I don't think he's going to lose it. Whether or not Sheldon Benjamin interferes or interrupts this match, I suspect he will, but that could result in some sort of a disqualification. It could result in one of them being interfered with, or at least distracted rather, and the other person being victorious. There's a number of ways this match can go, which is why I'm struggling to decide what's the best, what the most likely outcome will be. But I feel that Jeff Hardy will keep the belt, and even though it might be on account of a disqualification or something like this, I feel that I'm going to stick with him winning the belt, and I'm going to just choose that he will be victorious. He'll get a pinfall anyways over Randy Orton. Randy Orton could continue to feud with him in the next few months, but I have a feeling that this feud will expand to other people, including Sheldon Benjamin. So it won't just be a one-on-one feud for a while. So I think that Hardy will retain the belt for this very first match. The second match on the card is for the Raw Women's Championship, which is a rematch from WrestleMania, but with new champion Nia Jax now coming in as the champion, taking on Alexa Bliss. And I guess in a similar train of thought, since the belt was just not passed over, but was earned by Nia Jax, and she just now captured it for the first time, I don't see the company taking it away from her already so quickly, despite the fact that Alexa Bliss is playing up the heel character pretty well. I don't see her losing it just yet. I can see her losing it soon, but Nia Jax certainly deserves to hold it for longer than a month. So I'm going with Nia Jax to retain the Raw Women's Championship. The next match is for the Intercontinental Championship match, which is Seth Rollins coming in as a champion, taking on The Miz. This one, to me, would have been more difficult to predict if the Superstar shakeup had not occurred, since The Miz is now on SmackDown Live, and it appears that the United States Championship will reside there. I feel that this is pretty much easy to call, that Seth Rollins will just retain the belt. Just as simple as that. I do feel, however, that The Miz always pulls out some dirty tricks and everything, but I don't see this happening. I see Seth Rollins just retaining it and then potentially continuing a feud with Finn Balor on Monday Night Raw for that IC belt. So I'm sticking with Seth Rollins to win that one. The fourth match on the card is a tag team match between the tag team, which it doesn't seem like this is a tag team that will stick, but it'll be Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Just with Braun Strowman's recent rate of success, winning the Greatest Royal Rumble and winning the tag team titles on WrestleMania with a boy as his tag team partner, I think it's tough to choose against Braun Strowman in any match at the moment. So him coupled with a returning Bobby Lashley, who has not yet had a pay-per-view match since his return after WrestleMania, I think they are going to win over Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. As much as I love the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and think they're two of the best superstars in the company, I don't see them winning this match, but I see them certainly being involved in a high-profile way on Monday Night Raw for this next year. So, but for the match purpose, I'm sticking with Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley to be victorious. The next match is between Daniel Bryan and also another returnee, Big Cass. Big Cass was responsible for eliminating Daniel Bryan after Daniel Bryan lasted well over an hour in the Greatest Royal Rumble event. And Big Cass is went on a rampage, a verbal rampage a few weeks ago against Daniel Bryan, saying how he also returned and no one seemed to care as much, but Daniel Bryan does, and everyone seems to be excited for him and saying things of that nature. This one's also a bit tricky because Daniel Bryan, of course, is such a red-hot babyface fan favorite in the company. But he did take quite a beating in that well over hour there in that Greatest Royal Rumble match. You could see there was really a lot of marks left on his chest. It looked like there was some sort of an inflammation or something going on there, and the company even noted this on the broadcast on Tuesday on SmackDown Live. And as well, Big Cass returning. He had just, before he got injured last year, fall around SummerSlam time, he had just turned heel against his former tag team partner Enzo Amore, who, yeah, of course, the company has no mention of Enzo Amore anymore. But Big Cass, they just made a point of turning him heel, and I think we're going to give him a big run now as a solo competitor, and of course now that is definitely the case. So Big Cass, I feel like, will win this match in a dirty way. And a possible scenario where this might happen is that The Miz has lately also been calling out Daniel Bryan, saying that he wants a piece of him, and Daniel Bryan also was exchanging verbal jabs on Twitter against The Miz. So I feel like The Miz, probably after losing the Intercontinental Championship match, will then appear in the show and set his sights on Daniel Bryan and screwing over him. So I think Big Cass will be victorious in this match. I mean, it's not like it's for a championship or anything, but I don't think this feud will probably last very long between Bryan and Big Cass. They might have a follow-up match where Daniel Bryan beats Big Cass, as he probably should. But Big Cass in his first pay-per-view match back, I think, will be victorious and give him a bit of a push as his heel character develops further. So Big Cass will win that match, in my opinion. The next match is for the SmackDown Women's Championship, featuring new champion Carmella and Charlotte Flair. Carmella, of course, is the new champion after cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase following WrestleMania and defeating Charlotte Flair. I think that even though Charlotte Flair is no question the better competitor, the better wrestler, Carmella, I don't see them taking the belt away from her so quickly. And the reason for this is I believe that the new tag team of the Iconics will help Carmella retain this belt. I see them interfering, attacking Charlotte Flair. Carmella gets the pinfall victory, and then Charlotte is quickly joined after by Becky Lynch and Naomi or someone else that will help fend off the Iconics and Carmella and help Charlotte beat them up afterwards. But by that point, it'll be too late. Carmella will have retained the belt, at least for now. That's my feeling. I don't think they'll take it away from her so soon, having it less than a month. So so I'm sticking with Carmella to be victorious in this matchup, at least for now. We'll see how long she holds the belt for, because instead of Naomi, I think Asuka would be someone who would help Charlotte Flair come to her aid. Becky Lynch and Asuka, since that's right, Asuka is now on SmackDown Live. But right there, those are two other competitors which are much better in the ring than Carmella. So Charlotte Flair has a lot of great competition to work with Becky Lynch, with Asuka. And I would love to see, personally, more Asuka Charlotte Flair after their great match at WrestleMania. So Carmella, I don't see holding it for long, but I think she'll keep it at least beyond Sunday. So Carmella will be victorious, hanging on to the belt, in my opinion. Okay, so that's 6 matches down, and the last 2. The 7th match of the night is between Roman Reigns taking on Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe recently returned, and these guys have pretty much had a hate-on for each other ever since Samoa Joe joined the main roster in the WWE. And they've had some feuds a little bit back and forth over the past year. This match was maybe it was even the first match set up for Backlash here before any other matches were in place. Roman Reigns, the company just loves pushing him and loves giving him, making him look strong, and they're going to keep him very relevant and in the title picture, certainly. So I don't see him losing to Samoa Joe. I feel that I feel that Roman Reigns will just defeat Samoa Joe cleanly. As Samoa Joe is now on SmackDown Live, this feud I don't think will continue because they're on opposite programs now. I could be wrong, but I suspect not. And there's another big reason why I don't think it'll continue, which I will mention imminently. But I feel that Roman Reigns will just have a clean victory over Samoa Joe, and then probably resume his pursuit for the Universal Championship on Monday Night Raw. So now heading into the final main event of the night, which is for the WWE Championship match. This was just announced on Tuesday by new general manager Paige that this will now be a no disqualification match between champion AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, why I also felt that the Roman Reigns Samoa Joe the feud will not continue is because on Tuesday we heard an interesting nugget of information from Samoa Joe as he interrupted AJ Styles, who was talking about Shinsuke and his low blow cheap tactics as of late. And Samoa Joe came out and directly called out AJ Styles, saying that he was coming for him and his belt. So which means that I feel that Samoa Joe, upon losing to Roman Reigns on Sunday night, which I believe will happen, will then involve himself in this no disqualification match, going after AJ Styles. Now, because he's said he's coming after AJ Styles and AJ Styles' belt, this is where it gets a bit tricky. I feel still that AJ Styles will retain this belt, but that Samoa Joe may attack him soon after the result. And then they might begin a feud together, but then where does that leave Shinsuke Nakamura? That's another big question too. So another outcome, of course, is that Samoa Joe interferes, either distracts or beats the heck out of AJ Styles enough so Shinsuke Nakamura wins the belt. But then Samoa Joe would then face AJ Styles following this in a non-title match. I don't think so. I don't see that happening. And I also don't see Samoa Joe just going after Shinsuke Nakamura straight away either, though I believe eventually he certainly will. But next up on the card, it seems like Samoa Joe, or at least in the storyline, will be Samoa Joe going after AJ Styles. And I believe it will be for the WWE Championship. So I think AJ Styles will somehow get around Shinsuke Nakamura's dirty tactics, which he will certainly employ against AJ Styles in this no disqualification match. So I believe AJ Styles will come away holding the belt, but it will be, and I believe soon after, Samoa Joe will come in and pummel him, starting their feud for the belt following this. Again, I'm not 100% sold on this, though, because I don't know where this would leave Nakamura. And I believe certainly turning Nakamura heel is a very strong indication that he will, in some dirty fashion, win the belt soon. So I think that even though on this night AJ Styles will retain, I think Nakamura will win the belt again, or he'll win it anyways very soon in the coming months. But possibly after Samoa Joe feuds with AJ Styles. I don't know. It's very tricky to call, but I feel that AJ Styles will keep the belt against Shinsuke Nakamura in this one. So those are my predictions, folks. We shall see what happens come Sunday. Again, fortunately, we got women matches featured on the card again, and we can soon get the Greatest Royal Rumble bad taste out of our mouth. So that's pretty much it. Certainly feel free to leave any comments or questions below if you have them. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you liked what you heard today. Thanks very much for listening. Enjoy Backlash on Sunday, and see you next time.